All right, welcome to today's episode of your Daily Scrum.
Another episode with music.
Yeah, we're going to give this music a shot, see if people like it or not. Hopefully they do. It's kind of soothing. It's calming me down.
I'm going to
nice.
fall asleep during
It's like spa music, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So I am professional Scrum trainer Ryan Ripley. This is professional Scrum trainer. He's over there, Todd Miller. We do this show to help you have a great day and to help bring some new knowledge to your teams and eventually solve some really complex problems. We're hoping that through this show and our book and our teaching and training and mentoring and coaching and all the things that we do, that teams learn how to use Scrum just a little bit better so they can get some cool products out into the world, because we love buying cool products. It comes back to us. It's all self-serving, right, Todd?
It is, yeah. I like buying cool products, especially I'm still waiting for you to send me my Agile for Humans jacket.
They're in a box right over there. The last ones arrived yesterday. They're all coming.
And soon, our viewers might be able to buy jackets and sweatshirts.
Maybe. So we do have a Burn the Burn Down chart hoodie that people do seem to like based on the comments, that we should probably get on sale pretty quick. You know what, though? Burn the Burn Down hoodie kind of leads into today's question.
It does. I inadvertently teed that all up.
Perfect. It's almost like it was scripted, but we're not good enough to be scripted.
No, we're not.
Funny.
Yeah.
But today's question: should a Scrum team use story points? Very, very loaded question that showed up in the comments. We're more than happy to answer it, though. And it might surprise people exactly how we answer this. I think everyone's expecting no. We think you have options.
Yeah.
Right.
We do absolutely think that you have options. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, I used story points for many years. I was an advocate for them, used them for many years. I don't use them as a preferred option anymore. That I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong. I do think that there are some flaws with story points, and maybe we'll get into that in a bit, right?
Yeah, I think you have options here. If you're estimating in hours today, please start using story points. Right? Let's move over to story points. For those of you who don't know what a story point is, it's something that I think Ron Jeffries invented a number of years ago in an attempt to get teams away from estimating in hours. It's some kind of relative estimation of complexity, of sizing, relative to other items on a product backlog, right? And so it used to be called, I think early on, wideband Delphi. And so it's just a practice of relative estimation, trying to get away from, trying to abstract from hours. Now, Ron has come out, I think every year he retweets a tweet that he sent 5 years ago that says, if I happen to be the creator of story points, I'm sorry, or I regret it. Yeah, and the reason he does that, well, I won't speak for him, but I believe that the reason that someone would send such a tweet is that the idea has been really misused.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was getting at with, I think there's some flaws in them, because a couple of reasons people tend to correlate them to hours, which is really bad math. They're also a headache not to have abused by organizations that may not understand, right? So it's thou shalt do 30 story points per sprint or else, right? It's all the problems that lead to, weaponizing velocity in the past. I've so many times we're battling this with story points, right?
Yeah. And so if companies are going down that road, if they're trying to optimize for story points, they're not optimizing for delivery, right? They're trying to achieve a scoreboard metric instead of delivering value. It just leads to weird behavior. And that's what we're trying to avoid. I think the big question when it comes to which metrics do you use and which ones do you not use, what are you trying to accomplish, right? If you're trying to figure out, if a Scrum team is trying to kind of eyeball, how much work could we potentially fit into a sprint, story points can be great. If a product owner is trying to, provide a baseline forecast of when things could potentially be delivered, story points could be great. Now, if you're trying to make a team, not make a team, but if you're trying to move your practices towards being more predictable, if you're trying to find bottlenecks, if you're trying to figure out the likelihood of delivery by a certain time or over a certain over a certain period of time and things like that, we think there's better options.
Yeah, and I think that you're saying really that there's what are you trying to accomplish really lends me to two questions. Are you trying to just plan your sprints better, right? Or are you being asked to do long-term forecasting, right? When is your feature going to be done? How far are you going to be at a certain period in time? So other options, right? Here's another option is we are huge proponents of the work of Daniel Vacante. Read the book, When Will It Be Done? It's as simple as starting to track cycle time of your PBIs as they work themselves through a sprint. And it gets as complicated as running Monte Carlo simulations on your product backlog to come up with some kind of probabilistic forecast as to when multiple items or a single item may be done. So I think that book is a game changer. Getting to know Daniel over the past few years has lended itself to me moving away from story points. I haven't really been an advocate for them for about 5 years because I feel like this stuff is way more objective than subjective, which I think is really important.
I think it's also important to point out if you're in an environment where story points are going to be around for a while, let's use them in the best way possible, right? We don't use story points to compare teams. We're not trying to get teams to do more story points in a sprint. We're not optimized. It just is what it is. It's a lagging indicator of the capacity of your Scrum team, right? And if you don't believe me, send 2 developers on vacation for a full sprint and tell me what happens to your velocity.
Yeah.
Spoilers, it will go down. It's a measure of capacity, right? And that's really all it is. And we're trying to figure out based on capacity what could potentially be done in the future. If you are in a situation, though, where story points are going to be around for a while, check out George Dinwiddie's book on software estimation, right? George lays out, I think, some really good options within the story point realm, showing different ways of estimating and still being, I think, reasonable with those estimates. George's book is excellent. And so if you're in that space and we want to meet you where you're at, keep using story points. I think Planning Poker is a great analysis tool, right?
Yeah, it is. It lends itself to conversations with what you might do with a PBI in the future, right? Maybe make it into multiple PBIs because it's too big. Maybe there's more questions that you have on it, and there's a misunderstanding in the team, right? If your estimates wildly vary, I think it helps to ask some questions. I think that even if you're in an organization that's using story points right now, I think that there's more mature ways to evolve. Yeah. And so let's not become complacent with them, because I think that the work of Daniel and the Kanban and Flow community really lends itself and works really well with Scrum. I can attest to that because I've done it in the trenches and it works really well. So check that out. And it's as simple as beginning to measure cycle time, and that's really not hard to do.
Yeah, and we actually cover this pretty extensively in the Professional Scrum with Kanban course.
We do.
So it's a great class from scrum.org. Actually, Dan Vacante was a big part of creating that course along with Yuval Urit. So it's a great class that we like teaching, and so if you
also
learn,
also Pro Kanban.
ProKanban.org
for both Pro Kanban trainers.
Yeah, so applying professional Kanban is another great place. Look, the question is, should a Scrum team use story points? The answer for us is, well, maybe. You have options. It depends. Okay. If it's Todd and I working with a team, though, cycle time, throughput, item aging, and WIP limits. Mm-hmm. Those are the 4 key metrics that Daniel talks about in his book. When you apply those correctly, we think you can do some really cool things. And so we're not saying story points are wrong. We've just we've kind of moved to a different space. But if you're not there yet, use story points wisely. All right.
They're not a weapon.
Very nice. All right. Well, so we appreciate that question. Thanks for sending it in. We hope you keep adding more questions down in that comment section somewhere in that space below. We love answering your questions. Let us know about story points. Maybe you're having great success. Tell us your story in the comments. We'll be sure to reply. Maybe we'll turn it into a video about, hey, we missed this aspect. So help us out, right? So leave your comments, leave your questions. We'd love to hear more about what you're doing. Check out the socials, right? So we've got the socials up here, all of the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. It's all at Agile for Humans. Hit that subscribe and like button on YouTube. Make sure that you know exactly when we drop a new episode of Your Daily Scrum. It's probably going to be every day, unless, as Todd likes to point out, it's the weekend and we take the weekend off.
Yeah.
Check out some of the videos below that we've provided. We've got some playlists and videos for you to check out. But you know what? Just thank you for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. The growth has been amazing, and it's all because of you. So keep it up. Leave your comments. Be sure to share and like. Subscribe, do all those crazy things we're supposed to, the call to action at the end that you're supposed to do. And as long as you're doing that, we're going to keep making these videos. And so we will see you tomorrow.
Goodbye.